MX, thank you so much. We did it, man. Today was officially my last day of class. Oh, man. It feels awesome. I'm like, can do like the whole doctor thing. Do I start getting called doctor now, or do I have to wait until after graduation? That's the biggest question I have right now. Do I have to wait until I actually, get capped? Oh, I love the culinary class, MX. I am going to make a video soon on it, but I'm not entirely sure like what topic I want to cover. I'm trying to think if it's like the top 3 foods that I like to eat every day, or just sharing my experience on the class, or I'm not sure how to frame it. I definitely felt like a doctor at the end of my CELI last year, like in November. But since I haven't been in an inpatient setting since then, I'm a little bit more scared. How are you doing? How's your post-bac program going and all that stuff? I was wondering if I need to start studying for step 3 MX. I'm not sure. I kind of want to just chill until I move, and once I start residency, then start studying. I honestly don't even know if there's an Anki deck like for step 3, because that I would be down to. It'll start in September. Nice. Yeah, I know. I remember you mentioning that you were like moving, and that was really stressful. Yeah, I used Anki nonstop for step 1. Step 2 a little bit less, but definitely for step 1, I went super hard on it. I need to kind of figure out. It's kind of weird because you don't really need to go that hard for step 3, like step 1 and like step 1 for sure, or step 2 if you did well. And it kind of just depends on what specialty you're going into. If you plan on doing a fellowship after, I think it's really important probably for like internal medicine for certain fellowships. For family medicine, maybe not so much. Although if I don't finish my OB track in 3 years, I will definitely be applying to an OB fellowship. I don't know how important it would be to have that. There's another step 3 deck that I found. The last time it was updated was 2022. Yeah, and the good thing is that I have gotten accommodation. Nice. Yeah, I mean, if you need accommodation, that's definitely something you need to start on early. And then whenever you start medical school, make sure they know as well. That way you can start getting the accommodations like right away once you start medical school. Just because if you need them, like you want to document it early on. that whenever it comes down to like step one, I think you still get the accommodation. So as long as you have like a documented history, it's really important to get it going early. Just FYI. Franco, what's up? How's it going? I mean, since already combined residence, this is in a way fellowship. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So at the end of this, the whole point is that I should be able to sit for OB boards depending on the numbers, and like it's pretty guaranteed, but you never know what happens, with residencies and stuff. So you still got to be a little bit thinking about it. But I hope from what I heard, that's literally why I chose this program. So I'm not scared. Thank you, Franco. Thank you so much. It has been a long 5 years. It has been I'm not gonna say awful, but I'm not sure I would want to ever do it again. I need to let me pop out this chat as I search for these Anki cards. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Like, it's over. It feels liberating. I'm really happy, as you guys can tell. There's no it's like being a doctor has been a dream literally since high school. That was 10 years ago, literally. I graduated in 2013, and I wanted to be a doctor sergeant junior. So it's been an 11-year dream that I've like completed, which is absolutely crazy. Now like the hard work begins, but that's just amazing to think. There's not very many times I can say that I've been like proud of myself in life, but I think this is one that I can definitely feel good about. Feels weird. International Mr. from UAG. Believe you've done a lot of hard work. Keep running. Deserves this accomplishment. Thank you so much, Franco. I definitely, I know some people that went to that medical school actually. And one of them, I don't know, what specialty are you interested in applying to, Franco? I don't know if you want to share. If you know right now, you don't have to. But I know a few at some like top family medicine residencies right now. I know one, and she is in family medicine. Internal med, cool. I mean, internal med has the highest rate of graduate like IMGs, US IMGs matching. So I think that's a really good path. I don't think you'll ever want to go, but I don't think so either, MX. I wouldn't do it again. Like knowing what I know in my life, but it's easy to say I'm on the other end right now. It's not like I wouldn't say I would quit either. I don't know, but I'm just glad to be on the other side. Super happy. Internal med, nice. Is there any like fellowship that you're interested in, or just general internal medicine, Franco? Should go to On King and see if he has a GI. Nice. GI is so popular amongst internal medicine. It's kind of crazy. One of my really good friends, she is doing internal medicine. She has a pretty big interest in GI. She is incredibly smart, and she will be an awesome doctor. That's for sure. Still specialties in medicine that are yet to be discovered. I don't think like maybe like within the law, like the overarching specialties right now, like within surgery or within internal medicine, there'll be like more subspecialties. I think that's probably the way it's headed, more so than like a completely new specialty. One of my the like one of the newer ones, I guess, that I didn't really know was something you could apply to was preventative medicine. There's like an actual residency for preventative medicine, which to me like sounds like family medicine, but they focus more on the prevention. It sounds like more public healthy kind of way. It's interesting. I didn't know about it, but I don't know. Alejandro, so I'm just tuning in. Awesome, Alejandro. Thank you for popping in and hitting that like button and just hanging out, saying hi. Thank you for hanging out with me before. You've been here many times before, so I just I appreciate it. I'm this is kind of the best time when I get like the most viewers. It feels like, and that's why I stream so late. But depending on the time zones, it's either like 12 or 7. Ella baila sola, peso pluma. That guy really took off, huh? He's a sleeper. Can you hear it, Franco? Hold on. Maybe because they're not speaking yet. Can you hear it? I don't know. It's playing pretty loud on my side. That's weird. It's like playing loud, so that's interesting. That's, I mean, that's a pretty good mic, honestly. That's drowning out that stuff. That's pretty weird, though. Trying to see if there's like a mic thing, but there's not. See ya, Max. We'll see you later, man. Thanks for hanging out, man. We'll see you. We will see you soon. Franco, sketchy work for me. Step one, did anyone use sketchy for step two? I think so. Step two builds so much off of step one, Franco. When I did step two, I studied like a fourth to a third of the amount I studied for step one, even though I had the same amount of dedicated. I just couldn't study hard for it. But there's a lot of meds on step two also, so definitely use it, continue to use sketchy, but it just builds off of step one. Nothing like crazy different, pretty much the same. Yeah. It just kind of, I guess it also kind of depends on how your performance was on step one. If you feel like you got it down like pretty good, then I think it's not that. Step two is pretty easy, I think, compared to step one for sure. It's a little bit different, but I wouldn't stress as I would stress just as much for step two, especially now if you only had a pass fail step one and now you're gonna get a scored step two, then definitely, you might have to try a little bit harder now for step two, which sounds a little weird. I'm not sure how residencies are gonna look at it. I feel like they're just gonna assume that whatever you get on step two, you got somewhere similar on step one. That's kind of my vibe. Step two, I'm going to be trying harder. Yeah, I feel like residencies just all over are gonna look at step two now and be like, that's probably where he was at for step one. But yeah. Do you ever rotate out of VA or know of anyone who did? I know a lot of people that did, Alejandro. A lot of my classmates did. I did not get to rotate at the VA. Generally, from my understanding, is that they are easier rotations, but I never rotated in one. I've heard of the food sucks. The parking is fine. I've heard sometimes it's a pain in the butt to get one of those PIV cards to log into the computer and all that. The system is really simple. I work at a VA, but I worked at an IHS, which has similar like EMR. And I like the simplicity of it, although it is like simple. So you like actually have to write a SOAP note, which is, it's fine, like it's kind of nice to get back to the basics like that. But I did not rotate out of VA. Easier, worse food, bureaucracy can be a pain in the butt. That's kind of all I know. EMR is simple. Although I do think that they were moving to like a new EMR. I feel like I heard of that recently. Franco, thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate it. We will see you later. We'll see you later, Franco. Absolutely. Alejandro, I was curious. The school I'm starting, I'm on at later this summer has a VA listed as site rotations comp. Yeah. We have a really large VA here. I just never got to rotate in it. It was for internal medicine, and I'm glad I did because I wanted to get out of the city. So I did like an internal medicine at the academic hospital, and then I got to leave for another 3 weeks and do a rural ICU rotation, which was perfect right before step two, actually, because I did all my 30 rotations. I had internal medicine last. And then, I studied for step two. So I was pretty fresh on my medicine. And then my first rotation, the fourth year, was an ICU rotation. So that was like super, I was really smart. And then right after the ICU came my sub-I. So I was literally at the top of my game for my sub-I. And I felt I was really smart then. I knew what I was talking about. I knew medicine really well. And then after my sub-I, like all my knowledge just tanked because I started just doing like the required electives, ambulatory clinic, outpatient, and I was just doing like residency stuff. So I was focusing on that. So all my medicine was at its peak back in November. And since then it's just been dwindling. But yeah, VA can be a really good experience if you're looking for something chill. I think if you're going internal medicine, I think it's probably a good experience, because in internal medicine residencies, of course, you go through like all settings. So I guess, I don't know, kind of depends on where you see yourself working. Like for work, VA is also a really good gig because you get like all federal holidays off. It's annoying because stuff moves slowly. It's the government, so like things happen really slowly. But it's safe, good benefits, all that stuff, good hours. But sometimes because they're a VA, especially if they're near like a larger academic hospital, they might not have like all the resources because they know they can outsource it to the academic center. So that's like the only con I see of working working at a VA, just because if you're not like the only one and doing all of the top of the line stuff, then your patients are going to get sent somewhere else, and that's not that fun to me. I don't know. Nice. Any celebratory plans? Not really. I'm not like anytime soon. Of course, I'm gonna have a graduation party. That's gonna be like after I graduate. So that's kind of like the only celebration I'm gonna have, and that's not until the end of this month, pretty much. So not really. I'm just chilling. I'm not one to like go out and party. Just not who I am as a person. So I'm just gonna chill, and I really need to get like this house ready. So like earlier today, I was outside just picking up like sticks because I want to leave this house in really good shape, because we got a really good deal from the people that are renting from us, and I just want to leave it really nice for them, because the rent was super cheap for a like 3 bedroom house, 3 bed, 2 bath with a backyard house. Like we were paying really low rent because they're kind of like family friends. So I just want to, I'm going to fix like stuff up around the house and just get it squared away for them. Just because I'm so grateful for them. So that's not celebratory plans. It's just plans to, get the house in good shape, get it nice and clean. My mom's going to come help me clean one of these days, everything. And I'm going to hire a person to come like clean the carpets, because the dogs obviously come in. So just like a lot of like buttoning up before I leave. And I leave like I will be over there early June. If not, like, yeah, I'm gonna be there really soon. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I'm scared to leave my home state. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna be here forever, but life changes like that. That's how life is. It's beautiful. Yeah, it was really hard to secure an apartment for me too, Alejandro. Like stuff just all like what kind of happened is that the renter, she's had a residence before, and because my wife is military, she's also had like military, so she really liked her combo. Of course, like we're gonna have a pretty high joint income now, which is freaking crazy to me now. And we're like a safe. So as soon as I told her like my deal, she like just wanted me. She's like, I was gonna show this to like 10 people tomorrow. She's like, but I really want you to rent it. So she just took me. It was awesome. She made it super easy when I found something I really liked. Lilku, I'm just gonna call you 577. I have to repeat second year. No matter how hard I study, I keep getting D's on my exam. Any advice? 577. I think we kind of talked about this last time I streamed, didn't we? I think like you need to figure out different study methods. Obviously, something's not working. If you've been doing the same thing, and keep getting the same results, like that's when you need to change it. Don't change it too often. What's up, Henry? But not, like there's so I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel of how I studied for, like, if you look at the videos on how I studied for step one, I think that's all you need because that's all I did during my first and second year of medical school, pretty much. I think that's probably the best video for you to watch to see how I studied. Basically, doing flashcards and then doing practice questions and a lot of like standardized resources, because your classes should technically be really like, teaching you what's going to be on the exams. Sometimes the professors don't, and that's like one of the really annoying parts. But like you do, if you're studying for like standardized tests, you should be getting probably at least 80% of the material that they want to teach you. That's kind of like the biggest set of advice I have right now for you without like knowing anything else. I kind of leave my home state too, and it's funny because I had an acceptance in my home state, but I just felt a better fit with the school out of state. But I do plan to practice in my state. I think it's really good, Alejandro. Like that's, I think that's fair. I think that's kind of why I wanted to leave for residency. Like when I was applying to residencies, I applied all over this. I really wanted to leave. I wanted to leave New Mexico, and then now that it's happening, I was like, wow, I'm actually leaving. Although like New Mexico was ranked second, like it was literally my second choice. So it's just because I got my number one, and not I probably would have ended up here, and that's what's gonna happen, and I think that's fine. I plan to. I used to plan to come back to New Mexico, Alejandro, but now I'm not sure. Like, there's not much here. I don't really like. I'm not gonna say I really like Albuquerque. I'm not a city person, and then my parents are like in a rural New Mexico. It's called Moriarty. Like, I don't know if I really want to live there either. So I don't like. I don't really have that many incentives to stay here anymore, which is really weird to me. Thinking I never was gonna leave, but that's just like my thoughts right now, and we'll see what happens in 3 years. Maybe I hate Colorado when I lived there for residency and worked there, but we'll see. I don't know. Henry, do you annotate with a highlighter? I do not. I don't do any of that. I do flashcards and I do practice questions, and occasionally I'll like watch a video. But then if I do watch the video, like I do the practice questions right after, and I really focus on just that topic, I can't remember the last time I used like a highlighting function for studying. Not in the last 4 years, that's for sure. I know it sounds crazy, like, but maybe like when I was doing rounding to highlight something for myself, but like for studying, no, I haven't done that in over 4 years, probably. Alejandro, get things changed, school changes into, I'm sure, and it's okay. Hey, somewhere else like road. I know, seriously. Like I literally, it's an open world. It's crazy. When I graduate residency, my thought now is to do locums, which is just like contract work, right? Like wherever you're needed, you kind of get sent. They get paid pretty well, and you don't have to like settle down with a large, health system right away, which is what I also really like. So there's like a lot of incentives in just doing that. But we'll see. A lot of times, like depending on the residency, especially where I'm going at, a lot of the faculty are actually residents that graduated from there because there's so few family medicine OB doctors. Like to teach the next generation, you have to be a family medicine OB doctor. So they kind of like hire you on. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. How do you review practice questions if I got them wrong? Whenever you're reviewing practice questions, you need to find, it seems simple, but you literally need to understand why you got it wrong. Like you need to go through each answer option, and find out why it is correct or incorrect, and think back to why you thought the incorrect answer was correct, and like change your framework to understand why the correct question is correct. Whenever you get a question, there is literally like however many like multiple choice, if it's a 4 or 5 on their multiple choice, like that is literally 5 or 4 topics that you can review per question. Because if you can identify what it's asking and answer it correctly, like that's one, but you also need to understand why the other 4 or 3 were incorrect, and those are all different topics as well. So that's how you review a practice question. And you definitely learn a million times more from a incorrect practice question than a correct practice question by far. Like the incorrect ones are where you do I would say you do 90% of the learning on the incorrects as opposed to the corrects. And also, for some reason, whenever you get a question wrong, I think there's research on that. I think I might have read this before. But if you get a question wrong, you're way more likely to not get it wrong the next time because you remember you got it wrong, and because our brains are actually insane, like we remember things like that. Trying to make flashcards on the questions I got wrong. It depends on your learning style, Henry. Okay, I would make. I'm gonna tell you. I did make flashcards for questions I got wrong. If I got them wrong repeatedly for the same reason. But if it's a simple fix, like you understand why you got it wrong and you don't think you'll get it wrong again, then I don't think it's necessary. But if you keep getting the same topic and repeatedly get it incorrect for the same reason, then you need to do something else. Like you need to look up at a video, you need to read up on it, you need to make flashcards, like figure out why you are getting it wrong the same way every time. That's like my biggest advice for that. It sounds simple, but it's true. I think, when I was a medical student, when I was a pre-med, I feel like I overcomplicated things. And now after, medical school, I'm like, wow, it's so simple. You just kind of have to put in the time. I do. I'm not like smart right out the gate. So I just had to put the time and like these super simple methods, but it's true. Yeah. And I honestly think for college, the hard thing about college is you have so many different professors and teaching styles that I think that's hard in itself. But I mean, of course, I remember college and I felt like it was pretty easy to anticipate a lot of the questions, especially in science classes. Like the professors are going to emphasize something they love, and it's so easy to anticipate those questions for a test. And if one like something you can do for physiology, Henry, you guys can go to your professors and ask if there's any like old tests, old quizzes that they don't mind sharing with you, so you can kind of see like the whatever. Sometimes they won't, but sometimes they will. Sometimes they'll just like show you. And I think the first quiz or the first major test will like reveal so much about what the professor wants. And if you do well, like awesome, keep doing what you're doing. If you do it wrong, like that's a really good way to like understand what the professor is gonna want and like identify what questions he's gonna ask. Like just think back to when he was in class and he emphasized something or whatever, and then it showed up on the test. Like it was pretty easy to predict college professors, I think. Yeah, man. I remember the gen chems. I think those were the hardest chemistries for me by far. The general chemistries, I was really new to college. I didn't have good study strategies, and the gen chems were just kind of brutal. Those were definitely the hardest for me. I don't remember like Gen Chem 2 being too much like built off of Gen Chem 1. Like maybe a little bit, but I don't think you had to remember every little thing. I think it's easy to like pick up on the fly because they're so generic. Like there's not anything weird. Some of the summer boot camps for incoming M1s. Should I? No. No. I wouldn't pre-study at all. Zero, Alejandro. 0%. I think what you can do is like prepare, like have a good strategy on how you're gonna start, medical school. That's kind of what I did whenever I failed that first year and like I was told I needed to repeat. I like did a lot of reflection that month and figured out like how am I gonna, like get through this. And that's when I came up with like my Anki strategy and my practice question strategy, and it worked. Like I just did a lot of self reflection and what worked, what didn't, and like I just went from there. But no, I don't think pre studying is worth it at all. You're gonna be studying every single day for the next, like once you start, you're gonna be studying every day for like 2 years. Like every day, like you should have days off where you don't study, but that's kind of the reality of medical school. It's always hanging over your shoulders. It's kind of terrible. Do you get to do a cadaver lab, Alejandro? I love the cadaver lab. I thought it was awesome. But if not, I took like a college level anatomy and physiology without cadaver. It was more like one of those plastic ones. Yeah, with the cadavers, I think it's awesome to study with that. There's no other way to do it. Uh, I think like go to cadaver labs, spend time in the lab, and you'll like learn it. Juicy G, thank you so much. Thank you. 5 years of this. Can't believe it's over. So happy it's over. Yeah, that's it's been painful. That's for sure. I was telling them earlier, I don't know if I would do it again, knowing what I do now. But looking back, like, dang, I'm just happy it's over. Like, holy crap. What was your most difficult class? Ooh, that's a good question. In medical school, the hardest class for me. I think the hardest block in medical school was probably CVPR because it's so long and you're literally covering cardiovascular, pulmonary, and renal. Like that's why it's CVPR. So I think it was most difficult because of that, because it's three systems and it's kind of squished together. Like now medical schools are kind of making it longer weeks just because they're kind of understanding like the amount of time. I know we had over a month. I think it might have been, I don't know if it was 6 weeks or 8 weeks, but it just didn't feel like enough to, cover it all. And it was just, that was constant. Like that one was pretty hard. I think anatomy and physiology was also pretty hard just because of the time spent like in the lab trying to learn all these different things and identifying. Oh yeah, Alejandro, one of the biggest things for anatomy is go around like in your class, go around to the other cadavers. Like if the professors are helping you guys dissect and they say this body has a really good median nerve, or you can really look at the brachial plexus on this, on this cadaver, or this one has really good, leg muscles. They're probably going to tag that muscle on that cadaver. So make sure you go around to the other cadavers as well and use those, to help. That's they're probably going to use those. Repeating, yeah, definitely. Like that's a really good tip. I remember that for sure, and that's something I absolutely, recommend. 577 repeating second year, low key wish I became P instead to get it over with. I know 577. Oh man, I repeated my first year. I feel you, but you'll come out on the other side. Like it's gonna be okay. I thought it was gonna be a big red flag for my residency application. It wasn't. No one, no one gave a shit. Everybody was really accommodating. Like, yeah, I did apply to family medicine, so maybe that's why. But I was upfront about it. I didn't try to hide it. I told the reasonings, like what I learned, whatever, and it was fine. Like, I'm graduating. I got into my top residency. Like, it just, I know it's gonna feel forever for sure, but like you're gonna be a doctor, and at the end of the day, like nobody can take that away from you, no matter what. Like you went to medical school, you're gonna be a doctor, and you'll get to make all the decisions. I don't know if that's super important to you. To me, it is like to feel that responsibility. I think that adds another layer. Like I want to provide excellent care to my patients and take care of them at the highest level like possible with my brain. And that's what being a doctor is. Highest level of medicine. It's awesome. I've never heard of a job accepting somebody based on an MCAT score, Juicy. Um, I I don't know, but I would say like job like most people in the world don't even know what the hell an MCAT is or all that stuff. They might know a little bit more on GRE, but I don't think for the MCAT. Like only medicine people know MCAT. Yeah, no, I'm so glad I'm not. Yeah, the MCAT was harder for me than med school was. That's for sure. So I will say that I was a way worse student then, though. So that's probably why. But I would never want to do the MCAT ever again. Never ever again. Hate that test. What do you guys think? Should I do like the whole? Should I start doing residency vlogs, just vlogs? Like I'm trying to figure out what content I want to put out. I don't know. Like I was going through the fellowships, but I'm not interested in doing too much stuff. Uh, I don't know like what kind of videos I want to start making, like residency day in the lives. Like we'll see. Can you even study before since it's so much material? What do you mean like study for the MCAT, Juicy, or what? I think for the MCAT you can definitely study like along your. I 100% wish I would have started studying for the MCAT alongside like my college courses. Like after you do the Gen Chems, like do the Gen Chem MCAT stuff, and just keep like reviewing until you get to the MCAT. I think you can just destroy that test by doing that. But that's because that's the studying that I know works for me. And like if I had done that, like I know I would have, done fine on it. But that's all hindsight. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's all hindsight stuff. I don't know what to, but that would be like the best strategy I think to employ. Europe, it's 6 years. In America, like 8. Yeah, but in Europe, you guys they can start like straight out of high school, which I think is a better system. Absolutely. Although they do get paid less. I don't know. There's like pros and cons to every system. Ugh. Definitely pros and cons to every system. The channel needs to think as to what direction you wish to take out of the time. It'll be further distant from the pre-med. Yeah, I know that's kind of why. And honestly, like my channel never took off with the whole pre-med med student like topics. So I think that's kind of why I'm like, I think let like the whole point of my YouTube channel was just kind of to show like a first generation, like I'm a first generation Mexican American like person can do medical school, and just to share that. And I never was like crazy on like the editing or the marketing or anything to be crazy. So it's just I think, it just makes sense. Like, it's just logical for me to just like start doing residency stuff. But because I definitely don't want to do like any more. Maybe I'll do like one more like pre-med video, like my last one ever or something. But outside of that, I don't know what I want to do. Con MD, medicine is not just a science, but an art of limitless depth and complexity. It requires dedication, compassion, and a never-ending thirst for knowledge. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Con. I don't really have other words, but yeah, that's 100% true. You never stop learning in medicine, which is awesome. If you're like that kind of mind that just loves to consistently learn and get better and improve, medicine is definitely for you. Yeah, it definitely an art, definitely a science, and taking care of people is just, as a doctor, I think is just amazing. It's just beautiful. Thank you for those words, Khan. I really appreciate it. I get that. I'm first gen Hispanic too, first time to college and so forth, and you don't see that representation. Yeah, you definitely don't. And like I didn't take off at all. And like I tried like the whole, I tried Spanish, I tried English. It's just that's just how it is. Like I'm not great at editing, and also just like I'm not one that like makes big deals out of things like the excitement and energy that a lot of YouTube likes and people watching YouTube like. I'm just like a stoic person, and I just like to share my perspective and help you guys out in that sense. And maybe that's why, but it's who I am, and I'm not like gonna perform on screen something I'm not. So that's why I'm like I've just kept it real with you guys from the beginning. That's been the whole goal of this channel. So I feel like I've done it. Con, I know how painful it is because I'm also waiting for my final year MBBS results. Congrats, Con. That's awesome. I just went to your channel. You guys should go subscribe to Con. He has a lot of really cool topics. Thyrotoxicosis, action potential, hemostasis. I'm going through stuff. Really cool stuff, man. Thank you. But yeah, all we can do now is wait. You put in all the work you needed, and I hope you did great, man. Should do some research. Research on what, Juicy? Like on what topics to do, or research like disease and stuff? Oh, I mean, in medical school, you probably should do research. For me, I honestly don't really enjoy research. I'm gonna be quite honest. I'm not a big. I don't like to conduct research. I think the IRB is a big pain in the butt for a good reason, because there's been a lot of social injustices on vulnerable populations. And I don't want to do research. I just want to practice medicine. I just want to take care of people. I don't want to like, I don't need to discover how to, do something crazy. Just want to learn how to take care of people well. And the people that love to do research, like I will take their data, and apply it. But I don't like research personally. I think that's a big personal preference. IRB is a huge pain. I feel my current job involved. Yeah, IRB is a big pain, and like I said, it's warranted. There's been a lot of injustices on people. The medical system was built on inequities of certain populations. So it's completely fine. I just don't like doing research, and I think academia loves research, and yeah. And sometimes I feel like research is done for the purpose of checking off a box, and sometimes not for, actually discovering something useful. And I don't like that. Knowing the breakup issue, yeah, it is. It is annoying, Alejandro. I totally agree. Like I had to do a project. It's required to graduate medical school to do a project, and I did one before as a pre med, but the IRB was just not fun to deal with. And honestly, they never were terrible to me. Because I think when I was an undergrad, I got it kicked back like 2 or 3 times. In medical school, I actually didn't get kicked back once. Like we had our stuff together, like everything that was needed, we had, so it didn't get kicked back. But I do remember it was just kind of annoying then. Yeah, Alejandro, exactly right. Like that superficial thirst for publications from med students and residents. Yeah, exactly. It's just to check a box to seem like a more, like to become a more competitive applicant for certain specialties. But sometimes it is just fluff, like, and I don't like to do it. I'm not going to do something I don't like doing. If I loved ortho or, some surgical specialty, like I would have had to do it and act like I loved it because if that's what the specialty I want to do, then that's what I was going to have to do. But I don't like it. So that's, yeah, exactly. Feature distinguishes between great doctors and okay. One starting from university years. Oh, this is. I think this is a personal preference, or I think this is more of a personal preference. Every doctor has their own style. Uh, my bias, I think, is doctors that can communicate well with patients are better doctors, regardless of if they have more knowledge or not. I think literally like communication with your patient is probably the number one thing to be a great doctor. It sounds so simple, but you would be very surprised at how hard it is to communicate with a person, especially if they're like really sick or if they're really stressed and you taking care of them, like your stress of taking care of them. I think communication is the number one thing that could distinguish a great doctor from an okay one. And yeah, like starting from university years, like being able to talk people, like, like not being I, I don't know, kind of what I did in my, before I started medical school was all that volunteer work in a clinic. And I really learned how to like talk to people and talk to patients, not at the capacity that a doctor did, but I, learned what it meant to be in that situation. And I honestly think that's probably the best trait, just good communication. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's a good thing, or I don't know? That just sounds like, to me, off the top of my head right now, that sounds like probably the best thing. Yeah, I mean, same answer, Juicy. Like I think it's the communication thing, like making sure your patient understands what you're telling them, and you understanding what they're telling you. And just having like a really good open line of communication between the two, because that's like the only. Yeah, that's my opinion though. Like I don't know. Alejandro, I'll add in my view, it's hard to be both physician and research at the same time. You end up doing more of one over the other. Yeah, exactly. And I don't want to do research. I want to take care of people. Like that's what I like. There's people in my med school that love doing research, and that's awesome for them. But I don't. Good news for me. Yeah, I think if you're good at communication, I think that's probably the best. And then like after that, like like emotional, like understanding, like being able to gauge how a person is, like that whole social understanding, I think is really important. But I truly think like, yeah, it's awesome to know a lot of science and medicine and stuff, but that's stuff you can look up too, once you're done with everything. Like, yeah, you should know most of it. And I feel like, most doctors do, but you should be like also open to double checking if you don't know, but then also being, honest with the patient. That way they're honest with you, and then they're, yeah, communication. That's all. Do you think AI could be taking over doctors' jobs? Not really. This kind of was a discussion with the doctors. I've been messing with AI a lot lately, a lot, a lot. And kind of from what I've seen, I think it's going to be a really good tool for physicians to use. Like, I think it's going to really help make our job easier, which I love. And I'd actually love to implement like AI stuff into, documentation and coding and all that bureaucratic stuff that just sucks. Like, I think it's really going to help doctors do their job better. But I don't think it could replace a doctor. Like, people love having that emotional connection and having a person. Like, people do that. So I don't see it taking over a job. I see it just making us better, helping us do our job better. Yeah, exactly. Like teaching, there's some really good applications for teaching and learning with AI. Exactly. That's like a really good tool for students right now, I think, to learn using AI and learn how to use AI to learn, better. I think it's a really good tool for that for sure. Absolutely. One idea you can do more on the selling of family medicine, either laws or other content to perspective. Yeah, I think that's kind of like the idea too with those Alejandro, like doing day in the life residency of family medicine, just to kind of show the broad scope of medicine that a family medicine doctor can do. Because I think a lot of people don't think like family medicine does intense inpatient hospital medicine. Like within family medicine, you can be a hospitalist, just like an internal medicine doctor. And people don't know that. And people don't know that you can do OB as family medicine. And obviously that's like my biggest passion. But like I just want people to know that these are options. Entei Raikou. Ooh, Raikou is one of my favorite Pokemon by far. But no, I mean, yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite Pokemon. That's for sure. How are you? Congrats. I don't comment much, but I like to watch your videos a lot. Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much, even if you're, in the shadows. Thank you for watching my videos and coming in today, to say hi. I appreciate you and just thank you so much. Really happy. It's finally over. We did it. Suicune all the way. Nah, dog. Raikou for sure. It's like a Raikou, Suicune, and Entei. Definitely. Congratulations, you made it. Yep, I did. You'll be here, Chris. If I did it, any of you on here can do it. and you guys can come out on the other end, no problem, just like I did. Thank you for popping in and saying hi, Chris. Juicy. That's kind of funny that you popped in, NT Raikou, because I've been playing on mobile. There's a new it's not new. It's called Pokemon Unite, so it's like a team-based game. I've been pretty addicted to it. I've been playing it a lot lately. So yeah. Just if you guys haven't downloaded it, I highly recommend. It's been really fun. Especially now that I'm done, I'm gonna probably be playing a lot more. How do you feel now that you're all done? I applied for nursing school and now I'm waiting for the results. I hope and pray that I get in. Let's see. Oof. How do you? I feel amazing. So happy. It feels a little bit surreal. So this week, I got my first email that called me doctor. They're setting up my appointment for like my drug tests over in Colorado and stuff. And the nurse like just addressed me like, no hesitation, even though it was an email. Like that was like the first time it felt for real. And it's crazy. It was weird. We're all praying that you get in, and I hope you'll be a great nurse too. Without nurses, y'all are crazy. Y'all are amazing. We could not do like healthcare would collapse without nurses. Alejandro, I play Pokemon Masters app, but I know I'll have to drop it once I start on one. I've never played that one, Alejandro. Pokemon Masters. Maybe I'll take a look now in this month that I have time. And I play Pokemon Unite 2 a lot. We should play sometime. Yeah, we should. Here, let me see. You can add me. I'll open it right now, and then we can like add friends or whatever. If you have I think there's like an ID thing. Abdi, congrats. I hope to be in your shoes. Pre-med and military life is a struggle. Congrats, Abdi. My wife is military. It is an amazing career path. I am a little bit jealous. Because I didn't know about it sooner. I thought it was pretty cool. But like that, I think military into medicine is a really good option just because you won't have the student loans. Like you'll have a pretty guaranteed residency position, which is really cool. And then depending on your specialty, and it'll all be okay. One of my really good friends, he got into a family medicine residency. I think he's going to Jacksonville, Florida, or maybe California, actually. But he's doing family medicine, and he's military also. So that's pretty cool. And Tay, I can't help but smile watching this today. Like typing this message, because I'm so proud of how far you've come. Thank you so much. And Tay, Abdi, Forza. I haven't played any Forza on. Is that like a mobile app game too, Abdi, or what? Let's see. Juicy. Mushroom will cure depression, and psychiatry is a dying job. Definitely not, Juicy. Like I did. Yeah, that's a big no. Let me see how to add Entei. Let me. Eesh. Oh, here we go. Here, let me put my thing in here. K02ETM. I think that's the code you can add in, Entei. But yeah, Jesse, definitely not. Like, I think there's gonna be some really cool applications for mushrooms here, like coming in the future. I think there's gonna be like some really cool like breakthrough research, but it's definitely not gonna cure depression. And psychiatry is so much more than depression. Like I did 3 weeks of inpatient geriatric psychiatry and 3 weeks of inpatient pediatric psychiatry, and it was heartbreaking, honestly. Like I couldn't do psychiatry like only. There's a lot of psych that you do in family medicine, but holy cow, like I got your request. All right, cool. Well, we'll play. Yeah, that's me. Level 47, Jesus. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I started playing like maybe a month-ish ago, so, favorite Pokemon is Espeon. And luckily, it's extremely overpowered right now in the game. I plan on doing anesthesia, of course, during med school. It could be something completely different. Yeah, exactly. So many people from my school apply anesthesia this year. I would really check to see how you could, if there's like good anesthesia residencies through the military, Abdi. The problem with military is sometimes they only have certain residencies you can apply to if they're paying for your school. So I just want you to like research that and kind of, have that in the back of your head. Haven't reached Masters yet. This is because they just reset. I love playing defender support like Lapras, Blissey, Comfy. Oh, nice. I haven't played Lapras. I hate playing against all those. I really like to play Slowbro. Slowbro and Espeon are like my two that I like to play. Because I'm so new, like I don't have a lot of them. Because I'm not gonna buy them because they're expensive, And then like to get coins actually takes a long time. So that's yeah. Like I said, I just started playing though, maybe not too long ago. Talk to my career advisor. They have anesthesia residency programs. Yeah, perfect. See, like I don't know. Like I know they for sure have family medicine. They have OBGYN and general surgery, but outside of that, I don't know. I don't know what other ones they have, but it's good to know that they have anesthesia programs. Juicy, do you play PS5 or Fortnite? I do not. I don't have any console games. Of all, when I was little or younger, I didn't have like that many consoles. My parents didn't want me to be playing video games or whatever. So when I, moved out and I got a computer, like I'm more of a PC gamer. And I never downloaded Fortnite, so I know you can play it on PC, but I never played it on my PC. Thanks, Abdi. Appreciate you for hanging out with me, and we'll see you later, man. Thank you. And Tano, some nurses now require Casper. I was super nervous when I took that Casper test. That's crazy. When I was applying to medical school, not all medical schools required it, and all the medical schools I applied to didn't require the Casper. So I never took it, but I keep hearing about it. That's, I'm not surprised. Is support from Canada? Oh, really cool. Thank you all the way from Canada. That, I still appreciate it just as much. What is like the Casper? Like, what do they test you on? Is it like a communication test? I never took it, so I don't know. I kind of hear about it lately through like more of these pre-med influencers, and even I think some PA like schools are requiring it now too. But I never took the Casper. I'm also excited to like set up shop in my new place, and maybe I'll try and make it look more like a studio as opposed to the last 5 years. Like I've just been trying to survive, but I think I'm gonna try and like set up something nice, have a good background and all that jazz for y'all. Alejandro, I took Casper for several schools. I got a poor score. Yeah, I'm going to school that required it. Yeah, like, oh, it's a typing exam. So it was rough. Oh, interesting. Okay. Oh, a typing. It's a series of situational judgment tests. Get a scenario on what you would do, and you got to type fast. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's kind of cool. I like that. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, and then like the grading, is it like you have graders on the other end, so it's subjective as opposed to like objective? I don't know. It's interesting. I'm sure they have like some objective stuff, but it seems like it could be very subjective grading on those kind of tests. Some are type, some are video recording. you have to like record yourself on camera and like talk to them. So like an interview kind of situation. Dang, I wonder if they pay. Let's see. I've been trying to like look for little side gigs. Casper Grader. Oh, that's cool, Alejandro. I never, yeah, I never took it, so I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can like figure this out. I was a pre-med at first when I started university, but then in life got in the way, and I had to take a break, so my GPA super duper low. Pre-medical schools are very competitive. Yeah, I feel you, Entei. We're talking 40520 NCAT, and it's just sad that we don't have DO schools here. Yeah, that's crazy. You know, like at the stats, like I wouldn't get in with those stats, that's for sure. That's tough. Yeah, I had a pretty rough semester my second year when I was an undergrad, and that really tanked my GPA. But because I had so much volunteer experience, like I had way more than probably anybody in the class, and that's kind of why I got in, mostly because of my like community work and volunteer experience as opposed to like my GPA and MCAT. According to Casper, I'm the most unethical person ever, as ethical as a baby snatcher. Oh, that's funny, Alejandro. Sorry to hear that. In medical school, there's ethical questions too, and I would get them wrong because I feel like I'm too ethical. I'm like, I don't care if I get this wrong. Like, I believe this is the correct answer. And even if I got them wrong, I was like, no, like this is still right. But in medicine, you still have to be professional, and that's like a part of like the ethics within medicine. Like you have to be ethical, but you also have to be professional, and that's like a fine line that you have to straddle every single day. I was so curious I wanted to continue with this, so I became a CNA and fell in with nursing through my actual hands-on experience. Now volunteers here don't count as much. That's weird. Like that kind of sucks, Ente. I think if you're volunteering and putting your time, like that really shows your commitment to it. So, that's unfortunate that they don't value it as much there. Here they value it definitely. Different schools value it a lot more, of course, but that's cool. I wonder if did you ever consider like PA school, Ente? Like, is that a thing in Canada, becoming PA, or are you just like so in love now with nursing that that's it? Because PA school is always an option. I'm trying to find like the Casper, like the official Casper website, Alejandro, but I can't like find it. Students need either a third or fourth code will be competitive, and that's top. For a second, you might. Dang, yeah, that's crazy. Canada's all about the numbers, really top. How's bottom quartile? Yeah, I think that's I don't think that's correct, but whatever. I think I think people definitely need to look more at just like the application as the applicant as a whole. But I think it's hard because medicine is so competitive and there's so many people applying. Like that's a really good way to ensure that the student is going to make it through medical school, and that's pretty much the reason they only accept like the top students. They want to make sure that they're going to get through medical school, which makes sense. They're making a big investment in you. 100%. They're not falling here. Job security is quite scarce, very competitive, and getting like medical school competitive. Yeah. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, it seems like it's harder to get into the medical field for sure in Canada, and yeah. Is the Casper test through Acuity Insights? Do you guys remember if that sounds familiar? Double MC does its own version too, called Preview. That does not sound familiar. Okay. Oh, see, that one is through Acuity. Interesting. So you did it through like the double AMC, Alejandro. So Entei recognizes it. AMC Casper. Let's do this. Oh yes, Acuity just looked it up. I did both. Oh, I see. There are two different ones. One requires the preview. I see. Okay. Some both. Oh my gosh. Yeah, honestly, med school, like applying just gets harder and harder every year, I think. And like practicing medicine gets harder and harder with the politics and the rules and the laws. And it's not as, I don't know. Like these are all things that pre-meds need to really understand before going into medicine, like all these implications of medicine. Equally unethical on both. Oof. Definitely prefer the video portion of the Casper more than the typing test. Interesting. Yeah. Big Pharma is the biggest lobbyist. Yeah, exactly, Juicy. Like, like lobbying of, Big Pharma does have massive lobbying that is honestly not in the best interest of a lot of patients. And then what sucks is that if something does, that something that is really good for patients, then these pharmaceutical companies, even though they've been receiving massive grants from the government to research and develop a drug, they can still charge crazy prices for it. It's backwards, honestly. Yeah, insulin, a lot of medications are cheaper everywhere else except the United States. It's ridiculous here. Like, it's just crazy here. It's sad. Like, we don't do healthcare. We literally do sick care here in the United States. Casper exam is just so weighted so much too. Yeah, I never took them, so yeah. Like I said, I never took them. It was like kind of a newish thing when I was starting, or when I was applying to medical school. Not as crazy, but it seems like schools are just adding on more and more things just to differentiate applicants, which is not always good because again, it's like another. Maybe it's not standardized test, but it probably feels like it. Probably weighted at some schools here in Canada. Yeah, that is a bummer. Some more focus on GP and MCAT. Yeah. I think the majority here are focused on GP and MCAT. A lot more schools are more holistic, but I don't know. Definitely seems like it gets harder and harder for students, though, every year. Well, I need to make a newsletter soon. I'm going to send an email soon. Maybe I'll make one tomorrow. I feel like I haven't done one in a while, so I think it's time just to talk a little bit and put my thoughts out there. Oh. Oh, man. $9:30, nice. Can't help but get demotivated, jealous of peers who got in, but myself that they don't have to work. Yeah, exactly. And like that's what I'm saying. Like that's the whole holistic part of the process, you know? Like in medical school, there's some crazy figures on like a lot of med students, like parents are actual millionaires, like literally have so much money in the United States. It's crazy to me. Like these people have money, you know, like they're not struggling at all. They like during college, I remember that I would literally, go to, get up super early in the mornings, like 4 or 5 a.m. to feed the animals before I left for college. I would drive an hour into town and then like drive back, do all the feeding, and then like on the weekends I would literally work both days just to afford gas so I could go to college like the next week. Like people, it's just crazy that people are like really rich in medicine, and it makes sense, right? Because it's so hard. A lot of people do medicine for money, not love, and if they do juicy, like they really played themselves because medicine, you can make money in so much more in different fields. And I think it's like the understand. A lot of people don't understand, but I think at the end of the day, like to make it to the end, you have to have a certain love for medicine for sure. Surprised how many residents I met while in my research that are kids of physicians. Yep, exactly, Alejandro. It's crazy. Like a lot of people have money. That's why it's medical school is that's something you don't know until you're in. It's like, wow, these people are rich. And it just makes sense that they're here and they take, vacations every weekend is absolutely crazy. They're always flying everywhere. Like, but that's the reality of the world, like I can't blame them for having, rich parents. Like, I hope I get rich and my kids want to do medical school. Like, I hope I can support them in every single way because it's freaking hard. So that's just the reality of the world. Yeah, I haven't had a single weekend off in so long. I know, and I'm so sorry to hear that. I can't, that's just how it is. Yeah, inflation is very real here too, as well, Ente. Oh, very real. And also, like housing costs here are, I feel like they've just been going up. Like I said, that's why I really want to fix this place up really nice for the renters before I leave because they give us a really good deal. But like housing is really is like expensive here in the United States, and to find something decent, so it's just interesting. Um, my message your rule if you mention anything about COVID or question the official narrative. It's sad. Yeah, I mean, at there is like there is an inclination of groupthink. I think in medicine, but there's also like within medicine, you learn how to really go off of the present data. And even if it turns out wrong later, like that's just how medicine works. That's how science works, Like if you don't have the correct data now, like all you can do is go off of the data you understand now. So that's the reality of it. That's just how that works. And just honestly, like it just became so politicized. Like medicine has become so political. It's kind of sad. Like it's just crazy. I don't know. Like they're not letting medicine be scientific. They're just politicizing stuff instead of going off of like data, which is the whole premise of medicine. But people that have never taken care of a person in their life, never taken a science class probably in their life, and then they make laws like they don't know anything about medicine or like even women's bodies and stuff. They're passing legislation. It's crazy. Housing costs are crazy. How do you expect students from loan to afford housing and schooling with loans? No, yeah, I totally feel you. And tell you, like, it's tough. I think, if my wife hadn't been working and she has a really good income, not gonna lie, it's been awesome. Like, without that, I don't know. I'd probably have way more loans, like ridiculous amount of loans. Um, Luckily, right now I'm only at 200,000. My goal was 150 for the 4 years, but obviously I had to do another year. But I did get up to 200. But if it wasn't for her, I'd be easily probably in like the 300s. Pushing those higher numbers because that's the only way to do it. Uh, yeah, personal medicine do no harm. Yep, Alejandro, true. Yep, just all that stuff. It's just crazy to me. Like I see these lawmakers talking about just medicine and they don't know like just the most basic anatomy. They don't know how women's bodies work and they're passing legislation on. It's just ridiculous to me. It's just mind boggling. Honestly, like I used to laugh and I'm like, there's no, you would see like the things on Instagram or Twitter, like this person said this and you're like, there's no way they said that, right? And then you go in, like watch the full video and they literally believe 100% what they say. It's just bonkers. Like it's been crazy. It's very eye-opening. Not really, Ante. Uh Not really yet. I think maybe once I start and I'm working 80-hour weeks, making a lot of dumb decisions or whatever, then it'll hit. But right now I'm like, I'm ready. Like I'm putting the work. I know a lot of stuff. Like I'm ready to be put to work and start practicing medicine, put myself to the test, constantly like learn. Like this whole first year of residency, that's the biggest learning curve in medicine of being a doctor. And I'm just ready to start. I want to get in there and let's do it. I felt it a lot more, earlier during medical school, but now, like at this point, like I put in so much work. Like I'm ready to. I'm just ready. I'm ready to get put to work. I'm ready to do what I came here for. Dang, I haven't talked this long in a while. I can feel my voice going out a little bit just from talking so much. Your most valuable thing I learned. The most valuable thing I learned in medical school is that everything I've done, everything I've learned, to me means nothing if like my family aren't there to enjoy it with me. Like it's been awesome, I've been a lot of work. You definitely feel like a lone wolf, but like now I feel like without my family, like there's no point, It sounds weird, but I'll be able to share more later about it all, but like without family, like it just doesn't matter. Anything that you do in this, like to me, like that's my new mindset. Maybe it's because I'm, I don't know. There's a lot of reasons I'm thinking that right now, but things that I don't want to share. But without your family, it just doesn't matter at the end of the day. But it kind of just depends on your perspective on what you're going through with your life and what you value. Definitely learning that right now, like what I really value. Definitely my family. And it's not because I'm leaving or anything, but just like, dang, like, yeah, just like. I think in medicine they really like they really isolate you from like one from your family. Like it's medicine is it's a beast, so it like really removes you from a lot of things in your life. And I think maybe like I'm having those feelings a lot more now because I kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. I have time to reflect and think about it more, but that's where I'm at right now in my life. And then we'll see once I start working those 80-hour weeks, I might not even have time to think about it, but right now that I have time, like that is what is important to me right now. Dang, you guys are lucky. You guys are asking good questions, and I'm feeling it. Yeah, I'm like, I usually only do this for an hour. We're at an hour and a half. So, see, Alejandro, thanks for hanging out, man. I know geez, it's what like 2 a.m. there now. I think, right? That's crazy. Thank you for the for hanging out, for the congrats, for the topic ideas. Oh yeah, it's a 2 hour difference. But yeah, appreciate you, man. We'll have more content out soon. I've been putting a lot of stuff out lately because I have time. Yeah, I mean, it's always just been sharing my life. So we'll see. See you, man. All right, y'all. Any other burning questions or comments? Go watch some of my other videos. Leave comments on some of my other videos. That helps a bunch. Watching them like from beginning to end helps. I don't know what else to say. Just wanted to share. Today was actually my last day, so I was like, I want to pop on and I've been doing a lot of lives, which I feel like a lot of YouTubers don't really do in this style. It's just chill. It's just talking. Yeah, I was playing before I popped on. I don't know if I'll play tonight. Maybe I do like log in every single day, do like the dailies and stuff, but no, you do not have to take organic chem in med school, Juicy, at all. Like you can forget all that crap once you take the courses and take the MCAT. Like it's just one of those weed out courses, which is unfortunate. Like you have to like in medical school, you have to understand the basics of why reactions happen, but like that's all. Like you don't have to really understand the kinetics of reactions and all that stuff. Like you have to understand the overarching idea of why things happen the way they do, but you don't have to take organic chem in medical school ever again, which is awesome because I actually enjoyed organic chem and biochem, but they were hard courses. You have to, and it sucks. That's why it's 62 because they expect you to know decent chemistry and physics. Oh, see, I guess that's kind of similar to how it is here, right? Like we have to take 2 semesters OChem, 2 semesters of physics before applying to medical school and taking the MCAT because it's on there. So like it kind of evens out, but like, like in practice, like in the practice of medicine, it's not like, I don't know, it's not that useful like in the actual practice of medicine. As long as you understand like the major, like the big concepts. So I think it's fair. I'm not sure. You have to take a test after med school, like the MCAT. So during medical school, you have to take step 1 and step 2. Do you guys have to do that in Canada or in Europe? And then during residency, during my first year as an intern, we have to take a test called step 3. That's probably like the last test, but you can't register for step 3 until you're already in residency. And then after residency, then you take like board exams to be certified in family medicine. I'm going to do family medicine and OB. That's my program. So I'm going to sit for family medicine and OB boards at the end of this 3-year residency, hopefully. That's how that kind of works. Hospitals or workplaces look at that when hiring? No, they don't. I don't think they do. They might, but nobody really. I mean, for like step 1, step 2, step 3, they won't care. But like boards, when you graduate, obviously, like you need to be board certified to an extent. Like you don't always have to be board certified, but you should be like studying to get board certification to be hired. So yes, for boards, I would say I'm not entirely sure, but for like step 1, 2, and 3, nobody cares at that point. If not grades or these tests, like the board certification is kind of what qualifies you. And then step 1, step 2, it's just like a qualification. Like, do you know a lot of medicine? Right. Like, and then step 2 is like, do you know a little bit more like clinical medicine? Like, are you at the level you should be? And then step 3, I'm not sure. Like, step 3, like, I think step 3 is more like, are you learning what you should be learning as an intern? And then board certificate is like, okay, do you know your stuff for this specialty? Like, can you safely practice within this specialty? And then of course there's like continuing education that you have to keep up on, and then you have to do your boards like every 5 or 10 years, depending on the specialty, depending on the politics that's going on, like that kind of stuff. That's my understanding of it so far. Like, I don't know, right? Like, I'm about to start residency, but that's my understanding of it right now. Yeah, guys. Well, I'm gonna go to sleep. Thanks for hanging out with me. That was a long one. That was a good one. I appreciate y'all. We'll see you in the next one, and yeah, we'll see you guys later. Good night.